in future. As always, I am Eden, the current Communications Director for IRMAC. And to start us off today, I'm going to briefly go over the agenda. I'm joined today, as you'll notice, by all of our board members who are going to be speaking, as well as always, our Director of Online Content, Nicholas Meyer, who will be monitoring the chat for your questions if you have anything that you want to know during this talk. I won't introduce everyone right now, just because we have a lot of people to get to, but when everybody starts talking, you will have an opportunity to introduce yourself and your current position. But our agenda today is going to include, as I mentioned, a summary of what happened last year, which includes a brief introduction by our current president to all of our board members, what events we did last year, as well as our financial reporting for the previous year. And then we're also going to take a bit of time to talk about next year, what our membership is going to look like, what our new website is going to look like, and some exciting new directions for next year, including our rebrand, professional development opportunities, upcoming events, and our updated content curation. But to start us off, I'm going to pass off the speaking role to Martin Sikora, our current president of IRMAC. Martin, take it away.
Thank you, Eden. So it's my pleasure to introduce the board. Hello. From 2022. We brought on a lot of strong data management professionals this year, including my friend Mark Prasad, Vice President and Director of Marketing. Mark brings just a plethora of data management experience. Retained Verinder, past President and Treasurer, excellent support. Deborah, who's kind of an icon of DAMA and IRMAC for many years. Bob joined us, Director of Education, a pillar, I would say. And we thank him for his support and continuity and grace for all the pivots that we went through this year. Nick, mainstay technical operations. We couldn't have done it without him, as well as Eden, who should really be like Vice President of Communications by now, if not Senior Vice President. Satya joined us for membership and did an outstanding job. Many pivots, and just the contributions were immense. And Connie, we thank you for joining, and we look forward to your contributions from a content perspective and thought leadership. So let's talk about events, the exciting events last year. Eden?
Absolutely. So last year, as always, we had our regular speaker events. We had a range of topics that we covered. Some of them are featured on this slide, but highlights include data management principles, building data quality programs, critical data studies. We did a couple technical introductions to both Python and blockchain, as well as going over use cases for AI and AI governance, as well as advice on how to get your organization to love your data policies, and how to implement data governance in smaller organizations. We had a lot of really great talks with really good advice for implementing this in your own organization, which were fascinating and useful to me, if no one else. So I'm glad we had them. And I think you all liked them too. We also had our first Info Professionals panel, where we invited some current professionals from the field to talk to us about how they got into the field and what the field looks like in the future, which was really fascinating and is something I hope we get to repeat. We also had the first CDMP study group across multiple DAMA chapters. Now, IRMAC, as you all know, also goes by the name DAMA Toronto sometimes. We are a part of DAMA International. And so we've started collaborating more with other DAMA chapters and hosted a very successful study group across, I believe it was 12 weeks. And we're able to provide the resources needed by a lot of the participants to pass their CDMP certification with flying colors. Now that I've told you all about that, I'm going to pass it off to Verinder to talk about our financial state.
Okay, thank you very much, Eden. My name is Verinder Singh Sambi, and I am the past president and treasurer for IRMAC. And on the slide, you can see our financial summary for from last June 2021 to May 31st, 2022, like last month. And you can see the cash flow and the balance sheet over here. I'll go through the balance sheet first. We have $8,663 in our bank and PayPal account both combined. And there is no liability. So that is what is the equity for the organization, right? So in the cash flow this year, we are the net cash from the operations is $1,018 positive. So which has in the down on the left down, you can see the overall starting balance was 7,644, and a net addition was 1,018. So total is 8,663. Apart from this financial summary, we have done quite a bit in last couple of years, or last year as well, that we have standardized our bookkeeping, and now we are using Wave app online bookkeeping system, where we are now tracking our expenses and our revenues much better and more easier than before when we were doing. And now also we are working on our tax filing and bringing up to speed this organization with all the tax filing. So looking forward for next year as a treasurer as well, and streamline this process even further. Okay. Now I'm passing on to, I think, Satya.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Satya, and I am the Director for Membership for IRMAC. I joined IRMAC probably 6 months ago, and since then it's been like an excellent journey with other leaders here, and I've been enjoying my contribution to IRMAC. As part of membership management, one of the key decisions that was made by the board this year was to make the membership management administration process easy and less cumbersome, as the current process that we have has been very labor intensive. So Wild Apricot is a membership management tool that was recommended by other Canadian DAMA chapters, such as DAMA Vancouver, DAMA Calgary. They have been using this tool, and they have been very happy with the tool. So based on their recommendation and also our own research for our requirements, the board voted on doing a pilot testing engagement with the Wild Apricot for a few months. What we have found from doing our pilot testing is this tool is excellent in terms of membership and contact management or contact database, automatic membership renewal process, EC payment processing, event management, mass email, membership surveys, and a lot more. So all these things have to be done separately in our current process, but this tool has a lot of the things that we would want to do, and it's very easy process. And one of the coolest thing about this tool is we can also build a website using this tool, and I have provided a link here. That's the new website that we are piloting currently, and we are using this website to slowly transferring all the content from our existing website to this new website. So Martin, if you can just move to the next slide. I have some screenshots from the existing or the new website. This is all built using our Wild Apricot for our website. So if you can move just quickly to the next slide. Yeah, we have tried to transfer most of our contents from our existing website to this new website. So the tool overall looks very promising in terms of removing all the manual effort and help us streamlining our membership management. So that's pretty much from the membership update. If you can, yeah. These are some of the slides from our existing website. Okay, so I can now pass it on to Mark for the marketing plan and the next things that are coming up.
Thank you, Satya. And thank you, Martin, for those kind words. And I want to say thank you to the entire board for your continued commitment and collaboration over the last year, and under Martin's leadership, we've done quite a bit, as you're already hearing. I have a background in management consulting as well. So when I came on board, we wanted to just look at what we were doing as a business. How are we relevant in the market? How do we actually help our stakeholders? Who are our stakeholders? How do we help them more? And then how do we truly become a partner for transformation around data management, and data-driven organizations in Toronto, and more broadly in Canada? So again, worked with this team, ran workshops, and collaboratively built a number of models to help us answer a few key questions. Who are our stakeholders? So the stakeholder model, we map that back to our charter and purpose as well. Governance, how do we govern ourselves, our members, and what's our relationship and the governance model with DAMA International? Offerings, what for each of those stakeholder types, what are the offerings that we deliver today? What should be the offerings in the future? Especially as organizations are moving data and have to do data management in the cloud and modern data platforms. We then looked at, as we defined the offerings, we did a heat map. As you can see, there's some yellows and reds. Reds are largely the things that are new. So we don't have, high degree of capability there, but these are the areas and opportunities for development. Over, we started a little bit this year, but definitely over the 2023 timeframe. I also asked a question, and the team worked with me on this. As we launch marketing programs, how do we interact and work together to do that in a more optimized way? How do we leverage assets and tools? And how do we do marketing campaign optimization, right? So based on feedback, improve our outreach and engagement with our stakeholders. So we've done that as well. And that includes engagement with partners. I'm excited to say we are beginning to work with a number of leaders in the data management space, the hyperscalers, et cetera. And so there's more to come on that. Next slide, please, Martin. And so this slide is really showing the stakeholder types: associates, professionals, companies, and corporations. And we have definitions of each of these things. There's governance that we would do, and then the interaction with DAMA International. You don't see the interactions and the flows here, but that's behind the scenes as a double click. So what we want to do, just to net this out, is in terms of education and training for certain stakeholder groups, we want to lean in further and deliver education that is continues to be relevant. We're in a people business. It is about people and sharing knowledge and ideas and helping to promote certification, as we've always done, but in a more modern way. So we'll see things like marketplace matching, offering professional stamps of approval and things of that nature that we're going to be getting into next year. So that's it. That's the exciting plan for marketing and engagement with our stakeholders. I'll pass it on to the next speaker. I think that's Bob.
Yes, thanks, Mark. Yes, this past year has been, you could probably sum it up as a silver lining, whereas we had challenges lining up any type of in-house training program. The high gas prices and the pandemic forced us to sort of pivot onto an online piece, where this also put up an opportunity for us. We started collaborating across several Canadian chapters, Calgary, Ottawa, and Winnipeg for the most part, and a little bit more also for Edmonton. And by putting together an online study group, we were able to divide the efforts between these chapters, which made it much easier to deliver, and very wide attendance. And although Toronto itself had a fewer participants than the other groups, so we've got an opportunity to leverage that and move that forward. Throughout that collaboration, we also decided that we could also put together a national conference by coordinating speakers and participants across these chapters. And so this is where Edmonton has stepped up and actually even lined up some speakers such as Bill Inman and Peter Aiken, where there's a really strong relationship. So that's going to bring some real presence and attract a great audience through that. There is some opportunities in Western Canada where they've lined up some facilities, so it could be an online conference at this time. Sorry, an online and an in-person conference. In Edmonton, in Toronto right now, we have not been able to line up facilities in time, but we have some good opportunity here to continue some virtual classrooms and also stream some of the live in person sessions in Calgary and Edmonton. And to do that, so we're working out our content for these for this conference. We've also sent out a survey to over 500 contacts that we have in the Toronto area to just assess our interest in topic preferences. With that, the 3-day boot camp that we've had for our CDMP's fundamental certification, we've put that on hold for now, pending overall strategic review, and hope to provide inputs to see how we can start that up again as well. So that's it from the professional development side. I'll just pass it over to the next speaker.
Yep, that's me. Thanks so much, Bob. So I'm going to be talking a bit about some of the events we have planned for next year. Now, Bob has already talked a bit about that from the education perspective, about some of the events that we've done and some of the plans that we have going into the future in terms of collaborating with DAMA. I've got really 3 very basic points here on what we want to do in the next year, and that's more monthly talks that align with the interests you have. We've gotten a lot of feedback about which talks really resonate with people and which talks are really helpful in the work that people do. And we're taking those on board to really tailor our schedule to fit with that and really find speakers that speak to you about things that you're interested in. We also, as Bob has discussed and as we've hinted, want to have more collaborative events with other DAMA chapters to take advantage of the network that we have across the country and to bring international or national perspectives from different areas to the different events that we host, and possibly even international perspectives. That was a bit of a slip of the tongue at first, but you know what, the international perspectives are fascinating, and I know I don't know if there's plans to collaborate with other DAMA chapters internationally, but there's definitely plans to collaborate with other DAMA chapters nationally. We're also interested in hosting more panel discussions with professionals about the industry in the hopes of guiding folks who are new to the industry or who are just being introduced to the topic, and to really make it a more welcoming and to have more discussions about what is the future of the industry. As for our next line of talks, we already have our talk planned for July, which is about leveraging data across organizations at scale and increasing the efficacy of doing so with Emerson Gatchalian. So that is going to be very interesting. We hope you tune in next month on July 20th. We're also going to be, as Martin, I think, is going to mention later on in the presentation, soliciting you more directly for feedback about what topics you'd be interested in hearing more about from our speakers and tailor our programs accordingly. But that's the main thrust of it for future events. I'm going to now pass it on to Connie to talk about content in future.
Great, thank you, Eden. Yeah, hi, it's Connie Bonello. I'm probably one of the newest members to the board, so thank you for including me in the AGM and being very welcoming to the board. And I'm really delighted to be part of DAMA. I think it's a really important organization that gives back to the data analytics community in a big way, and happy to be part of that. And obviously content is, a critical part of that. And I was really excited to be part of this process in terms of what are some of the key things that we're hearing in the marketplace and what is in high demand in our profession. Because it's really important to us, as Mark indicated earlier, that we're providing relevant, practical, and insightful content to our membership and to the broader data analytics community here. And so the topics that we thought would be really critical to focus on over the next year or so, everything's on the cloud. So let's think about, how do we look at data strategy development enablement on the cloud? I think that's an important element for all of us to think about and to keep current, and have taking a more strategic business lens to enabling data and analytics and extracting the power of that to drive business outcomes faster, better, and cheaper, as they always say. And then obviously data governance, and to enable analytics and AI, the governance of that data is so critical. And taking it at enterprise lens is so important, because sometimes it's done in siloed fashion in certain organizations. And then obviously metadata management. If we don't know our data, it's really hard for us to make decisions. And when I'm a consultant, and when I talk to clients, it's always a challenge of, where is our data? Do we know it? What does it mean? And all of those important things. And then obviously modernizing our data architecture so that we can leverage strong, powerful tools like AI moving forward. So that was our thinking around content. And I think these are really important topics to think about. But obviously, if there's anyone from our membership that is interested in other topics, feel free to reach out and we can consider those, obviously. And obviously, if you're interested in volunteering and help with creating this content, I'd personally would appreciate it, because we don't live in silos. I think this is going to be a team effort to really build relevant, insightful content so that our membership can take advantage of these important topics and knowledge sharing moving forward. So that's basically all I wanted to cover, and really excited to be part of the DAMA board and to give back around data creating content that's relevant to our team and the broader community.
Excellent. Thanks, Connie.
You're welcome.
The 2023 Board of Directors, we're kicking off actually very soon in August, will be our first board meeting. Mark Prasad takes over as president. I'll be stepping down as past president. The vice president position is open. It's a 1-year position with a 3-year commitment. So vice president to past president, if you're interested, we'd love to hear from you. Treasurer is Verinder for a year. Thank you. Program director is open right now. Deborah has decided to step down, sadly. Education, Bob, thank you very much. Another year. Communication is open as well. Eden is stepping down, as well as online content, which is next. Both are sadly leaving. We thank them very much for their contributions to date. Membership, Satya is staying. Thank you, Satya. And Connie is staying as content. And we will add to this board as we need to. But those are the 4 open positions right now. So we're looking forward to an exciting 2023. How can you get involved? Number 1, join, become a member. It does help. Volunteer for content curation, volunteer for speaking, contact us with any suggestions or ideas. We will be sending out a members survey very soon, as Eden related to or mentioned before. We want your feedback. We want your input. What can we do differently in terms of presentations, in terms of events, venues, anything? We're open and interested. Available board positions, like I said, there's 4 available. If you're interested, please let us know. We'd be happy to interview and move forward. So I think that's about all I had to say. If there's
Thank you, Martin, for everything that you've had to say and everything you've done for this year. I'm just jumping in because Nick has been monitoring the chat, and we have a couple questions already, and I'm sure more will come in as we do. We have a question about membership management, which is whether will users automatically be migrated to this new website, or will members need to migrate themselves? I don't know who would be best to speak to that. Maybe Satya? or
Yes.
Mark talk about strategy? Oh, Sathya, go ahead.
Yeah, I can talk to it. So the plans that we have currently is to move them, like we will move them from them to whoever existing members, we will move them, but whoever are not members, we will be sending them an email, and then they'll be redirected to the website to sign them up, sign yourself as members. That's the plan for now.
Excellent. Thank you. We also have another question about membership. Is there a place on the website that speaks to the membership benefits, and how do you join the chapter?
So the current we are piloting with a new website, and that also has all the membership levels that you can join. We are still kind of through the strategic meetings, how we wanted to incorporate what are the benefits that will be available for at what levels. So once we have that, that will be available on the website. That'll tell you what are the benefits of what membership level at that time. So yeah, that will be available in the future to answer your question.
Excellent. Thank you. So we've got another comment for topics. Could I recommend unstructured data, which is something that you're right that we haven't talked about a lot. The rest of the comment is, I see more and more unstructured data flowing, and since the process of structuring is slow and expensive, this requires tools and methods to consume it. That's absolutely right. Dealing with unstructured data is a task and a half, but dealing with it on its own terms as unstructured data instead of attempting to create order out of it presents its own unique benefits. So Connie, I guess that's something for you to think on as well. For
yeah, I guess when I say
content.
data, I mean unstructured and structured data. So you're absolutely right. If you look at most of the big data, it's mostly unstructured. So no, absolutely right. So thanks for the point of clarification. Definitely consider that in all of our content. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're running slow on questions, but I guess any questions from board members, one or another, or any additional points we want to make. We'll wait a few minutes before we decide to wrap it up. And while we do, I guess I will say, as I will reiterate, as Martin has said, thank you everyone for a fantastic year. We've done quite a lot this year. We were able to, talk about a wide range of topics and do a variety of activities and events. And here's hoping that next year will be more of the same and more on top of that. It'll be very interesting to see where the whole field goes as a whole. And this is a great group to take the journey with in discovering what the field of information and resource management has to offer to everyone. So I guess we'll end on the note, as Martin said, we're going to be surveying our membership and our folks on our mailing list, as well as through other channels, to see what you're interested in seeing IRMAC find speakers on, or if you know a particular topic or speaker that would be interesting for IRMAC to get. If you have any other questions that come up after, you'll also be able to ask it through this survey. And if you have any interest in volunteering, we'll be able to share that. I guess we'll do a final check for additional questions. Oh, yes. So one more question. What is our target for paid members for the next year, 2022 to 2023?
I don't think we've actually set a target yet. I think we're looking at our first kind of conversion run. We want to see what kind of conversion rate we can get based on the collateral that we have currently. I would hope that we could raise our membership by at least 15% moving forward immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense. We are working on shifting to a different model. Oh, we have even one more. Excellent. As soon as we threaten to go, all the questions come out of the woodwork. That's excellent. Sorry, the questions are being relayed. Yes, so this is a question I'm not sure that we've discussed, but are there any plans to resume in-person meetings?
Yes and no. So we were kind of hoping to use DAMA Days as an in-person event. That's not unlikely to happen. We could look to some more focused quarterly events and do those in person as well. we need to figure out facilities, because that's something that we haven't had to deal with in the last 2 years. But we are all eager to meet and greet in person as well. This virtual stuff is great, but yeah, it's time for an analog event. I agree. Look to at least one this year. Put it that way in 2023. Mark, do you want to firm that up,
Sure.
top that up, maybe?
Sure. Thanks, Martin. I mean, many of us remember IRMAC over the years, and again, relevance and engagement meant humans actually being in touch and contacting and see each other in person. So yeah, Martin and I will work on towards an event this year. And I would just kind of circle back, maybe a way to kind of galvanize a lot of the things that we're saying. Again, relevance. There's continued evolution. It's fairly rapid, actually, in the data management and governance space. Content that matters. Thank you, Connie, and I'll work with Connie as well. There's the call out, just to kind of repeat, if you want to become a member and give back, like many of us who've been two or more decades in the industry, and love the work we do and the people we do it with. And if you want to give back, please consider joining the board. And if you're in industry, right? So two perspectives, right? So a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, I think I co-presented with my friend Jamie Mitchell from RBC. And so if you're from industry, please let us know. We would love to hear not just banking, retail, airlines, it doesn't matter, mining. Please come and join us, tell your stories, the progress you're making. Many people would love to hear that. And also, as I said, we're going to be working with some of the big, very, very large organizations like Microsoft. Actually, the next presentation that's in July, is Microsoft actually sharing their perspective, right, of how you do data management and governance at scale in the cloud. So we're excited to bring, a caliber of speaker and content that continues to drive engagement with you all. So thank you again.
Yeah, so we've got, I think, one more comment or question, which I think ties back to what Satya mentioned earlier about the membership benefits currently being under development and the new website going to better articulate that. There was a request to provide more clarity on communicating the membership value compared to the free content or paid content. Which I think is hopefully going to come as the website redesign goes through, as Satya said. Satya, I don't know if you want to speak to that in a bit more detail or.
Yeah, thank you, Eden. I think you summed it up very well. So the benefits, the member benefits for the paid members and free content, it is under discussion within our own board members, and we are coming up with ideas for how we can provide value back to the members. So that is under development, and once it's all ready to be shared with the entire community, we will be posting that information on our website, and we will definitely share that with everyone.
Excellent. I think that covers all the questions. I think we've got a lot to take on board for the next year, but it's going to be a very exciting time for IRMAC, and I think there's lots of opportunities for y'all in the coming future. So with that in mind, I think we've answered questions. No, I see Nick typing, so we might have some more questions coming in. So I'm just going to stall for a little bit longer.
This one's a little long, so I'll just talk.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Nick.
Can we consider holding a meeting once a month with invitees from Meetup to understand their interest in enhanced conversion to paid membership?
That's a good question. I think that's a question for Martin, maybe, or Mark, in terms of future strategy.
I mean, it's certainly an event that we could consider undertaking. I don't see why we can't do that. It'll probably, what I was proposing is that we would have kind of an event, a speaker, and then the following month we would have kind of a digestion of that event. And that might be a good time to have kind of a free event, like a meetup, not necessarily meetup, but probably hosted or directed by the website, where we could all meet and discuss and review what we saw last month, what we'd like to see next month, or how we would like to, and the lessons learned that we got from that. But does that make sense?
I think that makes a lot of sense, Martin. And you and I had chatted about also contextualizing the topic from the previous month vis-a-vis, you know, the DMBOK, the basically the certification material as well and content.
Yeah, that's important. Paint it back into the knowledge wheel landscape, right? So people understand its direction, if you will, its value proposition in the long term from a certification perspective, and from a knowledge management perspective too. I think that's important. Yeah, that would work. I kind of like that as a structure, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, we've got no more questions at the moment, so it seems like this is a good place to leave off. But if any more questions come in the comments or in the chat as we close it up, I think we'll be able to add those to our next send out to the mailing list or to our membership, or maybe contact the individual directly. Or no, we should try to publicize the answers. Anyway, thanks everyone so much for joining us to engage in our AGM. Thanks to all the other board members for joining us today, and for speaking a bit about the plans for the future and the successes and challenges of the previous year. Martin, I don't know if you want to say any final words before we sign off.
Thanks everyone for their contributions. 2022 was stellar, and 2023 is going to be that much better. So stay tuned.
Excellent. Thanks. Nick, pull the plug.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, team.
Thanks everyone.
Pull the plug, please, I should have said.
Yeah, I am.
Are we off?
Excellent.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks everyone. That went remarkably well, considering we didn't even have time to do a dry rehearsal, so it went well. Mark, we should probably